All right, good afternoon, or sorry, good morning, rainy math students. So in this video, I'm going to go over lesson 8-1 to 8-3 review. So let's get started with number one. Number one says, graph the image of triangle DEF after a translation of 2 units to the left and 4 units up. So for this one, all you need to do is you take every single point, the D, the E, and the F, and you are simply going 2 units to the left, 4 units up. So 1, 2 to the left, 1, 2, 3, 4 units up. So this is the new point for E prime. And then we do the same exact thing for the D and the F. So 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Here's your new D. And then for the F, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. So if you did this correctly, then your new triangle should look like that. And then second, they want us to write the coordinates of the image. So over off to the side, we're just going to put the new coordinate points for D, E, and F. So for D, it's -1, +1. For E, it's 1 and 3. And for F, it's 2, 1. All right, for number 2, it says triangles ABC has the vertices of 2, 3, 4, 8, and 5, 1. Write the coordinate notation and then write the coordinates. So what is the coordinate notation? The coordinate notation simply tells you that the original points are at x, y, because remember every coordinate point has an x value and a y value. So what it means to do the coordinate notation is for you to simply tell me what the new rule is. So when I say that it's being translated 5 units to the right, that means that you're taking your x and you're adding 5. Why adding? Because we're going to the right. If you were going left, then you would be subtracting 5. And then the second part says that we are going 1 unit down. So we're talking about my y values. And because we're going down, we simply just put y -1. If we were going up, then we would put y +1. Okay? So that's the first part. You need to know the coordinate notation before being able to put the new coordinate points. The new coordinate points, pretty damn easy from here. Okay? So you take your A prime. Originally, the x value was at 2. If you add 5 to it, 2 plus 5 makes 7. For the y value, your original y was 3. If you take away 1, that gives you 2. So there's your new A prime. For B prime, it's simply 9 for the first value, 7 for the second. And then for C prime, once again, for the x, we add 5 to it, so 5 plus 5 makes 10. And then for the y value, 1 take away 1 gives you 0. All right, so for number 3, they want us to describe the translation using words and coordinate notation. So you take any point you want, for example, D. And then you find the new D, which is the D prime, right? So the first question that you should ask yourself is, from D to D prime, am I going to the left or am I going to the right? So here I'm going to the right 1 spot. So when I write this, I simply just put right 1. First, I'm describing it in words. After I go to the right 1, it's very obvious that I have to go down. How many do I go down? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So over here I put down 5. Okay? So if you look at the directions, it says describe the translation using words, which I just did. And then you have to give me the coordinate notation. So the right is the x value, and because I'm going to the right, that means +1. The down is the y value, and because we are going down 5, then that's just y -5. And you're done. For number 4, it says graph the image EFG after a reflection across the y-axis. So number 1, you need to know where the y-axis is. Well, it's this one right here. The y-axis is the one that goes vertical, up and down, right? And then a reflection, okay, think of a mirror. A reflection, whatever was on the right now has to be on the left, okay? So all I do is I start with any point I want. I'm going to start with F because it's at the top. The F is 1, 2, 3 points to the right, so the opposite of being 3 to the right is 1, 2, 3 to the left, so it's now going to be here. For the G, 5 to the right, opposite is 5 to the left. Make sure you put primes on these. For the E, it's 4 spaces to the right, so the opposite is 4 spaces to the left. It will now be over here. We call that E prime. And then all you do is you take your pencil to the best of your ability and you draw your new triangle. Now, because it is a reflection, just like when you're looking at the mirror, okay, the triangle does not get fatter, it does not get shorter, it does not get skinnier, it does not get taller. It's the same exact thing except you're just seeing the opposite, okay? And then it tells us to write the coordinates of the image. So we need to know what the coordinate for E prime, F prime, and G prime is. So all you have to do from here is just count. So for E, it's -4, -3. For F prime, it's -3, +2. And then for G prime, it's -5, +1. So for number 5, it says graph the image of triangle ABC after a reflection across y = 1. This one's the one that some of you guys had some issues with on the homework a few nights ago. Okay, so first you locate the y-axis. The y-axis again is the one that goes up and down. And then you ask yourself, where is -1 on the y-axis? The -1 on the y-axis is going to be here, down from 0, right? So if we're asking the line to go through y = -1, then my line has to go this way, okay? It has to go horizontal through y = -1. So from here, anything that was above now goes below. Anything that was below now goes above. So very simply, B is 2 spaces from my line of reflection. So my new B will be 2 spaces down from the line of reflection. A was originally 1 down. Now it's 1 up. C was originally 1, 2, 3 lines down. Remember, we're going off of the line of reflection because a lot of kids always try to use the x-axis. Do not use the x-axis, which is this one, to count. Use your line of reflection. So C was 1, 2, 3 below. So from my line of reflection, 1, 2, 3 above. So here's your new C prime. Once again, if you draw this, some of you guys are going to be like, what? Is it supposed to go through the other image? Yes, because sometimes you will have the image on the other side without it touching, and then sometimes you will have it to where they do cross each other's path, okay? And then once again, you write the new coordinate points. So over off to the side, you tell me what the A prime, the B prime, and the C prime is. For A prime, it's simply -1, 0. For B prime, it's 1, -3. And for C prime, it's just 3, 2. All right, for number 6, we found an error. It says triangle MNP has the following coordinates, and then as you can see, the following coordinates are not MNP, but instead MKL. So do me a favor, instead of the K, put the N, and then instead of the L, put the letter P, okay? So all they want us to do is, they tell us that it's reflected across the x-axis. They want us to write the coordinate notation if it's reflected across the x-axis, and then they want us to write the new coordinate points. So for those of you who are in class, right, if something, an image is reflected across the x-axis, right, so here's your original coordinate points. If you are reflecting across the x-axis, then the x stays the same. If it's reflected across the x-axis, the x stays the same. The only one that changes is the y value. Okay? So if we start with our very first coordinate point, which is M, we have -6, -2. So the -6 stays the same because that's the x. But the -2 changes to the opposite. So what's the opposite of a -2? A +2. Okay? We do the same thing for the rest of them. For N, The negative 4 stays the same. Why? Because it's reflected across the x-axis. The only thing that changes is the second number. The second number was originally a 3. Now it changes to a negative 3. And then for the p, again, the x value stays the same. The second value changes to the opposite. So the opposite of a negative 4 is a positive 4. All right, for number 7, it says the coordinate points of triangle KML and its image are shown. They want us to describe the transformation in words, okay? So look, if you look at your x's, right? This is your x, this is your x. The x stays the same. The only thing that changes is the y's. It went from negative 3 to a positive 3. If you notice your m and m prime, the 1's, which is your x value, stay the same. If you notice on L, your 4's are the same. So, because the x value is the same on each point, this simply means that there is a reflection across the x-axis. Okay? If the y's were exactly the same, not the x's, if the y's were the same, then it would be called a reflection across the y-axis. So in this case, the x's were the same, so it's a reflection across the x-axis. For number 8, I just got done telling my 4th period that in order to do number 8, you need patty paper because we're wanting you to rotate it 90 degrees clockwise about the origin. So the way it would work is you would take your patty paper, you would place it on top, and then you would carefully just outline or trace the D, the E, the F, and then also the center point, which is at 0, 0. And then as you take your patty paper and you rotate it one time to the right, because it says that it's rotating clockwise, okay, your new coordinate points would simply be here. This would be your new F prime. Your new D prime would be here. And then your new E prime would be here. And again, it's impossible for me to do this on my iPad because number 1, I don't have patty paper and I can't put it on top of my iPad screen, nor would you be able to see me rotating it. So just trust me when I tell you that this is what it looks like when you rotate it 90 degrees clockwise. Okay? Once again, tomorrow on the test, I will be giving you guys patty paper just so you guys know. But this is the new D, the new E, the new F, because it also tells me to write the coordinate points for it. It's at 2, 5, 3, 2, at negative 1, 4. So for number 9, it says triangles ABC has the following vertices, and the triangle is rotated 180 degrees clockwise about the origin. So first it says write the coordinate notation. So remember that whenever you have a 180 degree rotation, the original xy value changes to the opposite. So it would be negative x, negative y. So anything that was originally positive changes to negative. Anything that was negative originally changes to positive. So if I start with a prime, opposite of 0 is just 0. Opposite of a negative 4 becomes a positive 4. For b prime, same exact thing. Opposite of a positive 5 and opposite of a positive 3 becomes a negative 5 and a negative 3. And then for c prime, we just do exactly the same. Anything that was positive changes to negative, so this would be a negative 7. And if it's already a negative, then it changes to a positive. So that's how you would do number 9. And then for number 10, this was last night's homework. It just wants us to write a description of what type of rotation is happening, okay, using coordinate notation and also words. And then it says assume that it is being rotated clockwise, okay. So remember that there's 4 different quadrants, right? So if it's 90 degrees, then it's going to be found somewhere here if we're going in a clockwise motion, and clearly it's not there. If it was 180, it would be directly across from it, which it's not. So that means that the only rotation this can be is a 270-degree rotation. So we would simply just write a rotation of 270 degrees clockwise from the origin. Oops. My internet keeps cutting out. From origin. Okay? And then they also want us to write the coordinate notation, or actually the coordinate notation went first and then the word, so let me write that up here. So originally it was XY, and then in order for it to be a 270-degree rotation, this would simply be a negative Y and an X here, and this is coming straight from our notes from Tuesday. Okay? So remember, guys, that tomorrow we have a quiz. There's only 10 problems. Make sure that you guys use this study guide to study off of. Tomorrow's questions will be very similar to today's study guide. So good luck studying, and I will see you guys tomorrow. Peace.